All right, today we are making our yeast rolls. Jessica is going to first mix the sugar, salt, baking powder, and baking soda in the mixer with the paddle. So once that's mixed up together thoroughly, then she will add the sour cream and softened butter and eggs. We need to make sure that the butter is softened before it goes into the mix. She's going to whip the eggs up really well. Once those are whipped up, then she's going to add that into her mix of sugar, salt, baking powder, baking soda, and the butter and sour cream. Next step is going to be her yeast mixture. So that's going to be yeast, sugar, and water. You've got to make sure that that water is 110 degrees. This is her yeast packet with the sugar in it. So she's letting that water run. She's going to check the temp on it. Make sure it's 110. You also want to make sure that you let it stand for 3 minutes so that the yeast can start rising. Got it at 110 degrees. She's going to add in her yeast and sugar with that water. And like we said, we'll let it stand for 3 minutes to give it that yeast to start activating. Alright, so the yeast is ready, and she's going to add that into her mixture of the dough. Recipe says to make sure you have it on low speeds, that way you don't have any splattering. Let that mix, and then we'll slowly incorporate the rest. All right, she's let that mix really good. Now she is adding in the rest. She also added in the rest of the flour. All right, she's going to grease up her pan that the dough is going to go in to proof. Make sure it's evenly coated. She's going to use her glove to get that dough off of the paddle. Alright. And the scraper to scrape the sides. There it is. Jessica has pulled out her dough from the bowl, and she is going to take that to the proofer and put it into the proofer, and we will let that proof before we bring it out and divide it up. All right, Jessica is going to set her timer so that the bread proofs for 30 minutes. And it's proofing at 120. Okay, the time is done, and Jessica is going to pull the bread out of the proofer. It's all proofed up. And then she will take it inside for it to be. She's going to divide up the dough. She's putting the Crisco over the pan. This is for our loaf bread. So she's going to divide this bread in half. Part for loaf bread, part for rolls. So she's going to cut out the 28 ounces for her loaf bread. So once she's got the 28, she puts that aside. Loaf bread gets a little flour on the table so it doesn't stick, a little flour on the top, and then she's going to flatten that down to get all the air bubbles out of it. Once she flattens it out, she's going to roll it up to make that loaf. And then she's going to place that inside the loaf pan for it to be proofed some more. Put that loaf pan in the proofer for 40 minutes. There's our 40 minutes. She's going to start that, and then we'll go back to it once it's ready. Going to do the rolls. She's going to weigh out 3 pounds, 12 ounces of dough into the dough divider. Alright. That's going to be, she's going to flatten it down and get it all into one good ball. And it goes into the dough divider. She's got her dough cut. She takes her muffin pan. It's a little bit of canola oil into the pan so that the rolls do not stick. And flour. Takes each out. She's going to fold that into a little ball and put it in the muffin pan. That's going to be 2 of the cuts. Make 1 roll. Rolls pan, she's going to put them into the proofer. I'm going to set a second timer for those. It's going to be 40 minutes for it as well. And we'll let that proof. And when we come back, we'll pull them out and get them pre-cooked. So Jessica's got her bread as proof for its time. She is also now putting them in the oven. She basically hit the timer for loaf bread, preheated that oven, and once it preheated, she put her loaf. Her rolls have proofed. They're ready to be put in the oven, so she's going to pull them over. She's already preheated the oven by hitting start. She's going to load up that oven, and once she's got it loaded in, she'll take it and close the door, and it will start the time. Our par-baked rolls fresh out of the oven. See how they're evenly golden brown? They're ready to go into the front oven to cook for finish. Here we have our loaf bread out of the oven. Nice height, nice golden brown. cooling for it to be labeled, dated, and stored.